So good morning, everybody and everywhere. And we are sitting comfortably with our back straight. And just remind briefly how we do Guru Yoga. So first of all, we pronounce Ah. This is the first thing we do. We pronounce Ah. And then we imagine the white luminous Ah in our center, where we feel our center. And our center means from where we see things. We don't look at this Ah from outside, from the distance. You know, there was a very long time ago, there was the first edition of collective practices, and the name was Ritual Practices of Dzogchen. So that time, Dzogchen community publications were a total mess. So everybody was doing whatever they wanted. And in that edition, in the first explanation of the essential Guru Yoga, there were words of Rinpoche, who was saying that it is important that we don't look at this Ah as we look as an object from outside, like from the distance. Then I saw many published explanations of collective practices, but I don't remember if there was this notice. But it is very important. It is very important. This is the only place from where I remember Rinpoche's words about it. We don't look at this Ah from the distance, because this Ah represents our state. If you look at this as something else, it can no longer represent our state. So it means we feel that we are this Ah, this letter Ah, this sound Ah. We are ourselves. When I'm explaining this in English, there is always a confusion because we say we are Ah. Yeah. So it's a little bit tricky. We are yeah. So still we are Siamo in Italian. Yeah. So this is important that we pronounce, we imagine white R in a 5-colored sphere, a rainbow sphere, and we don't look at it from outside. So this white R is luminous, it's transparent, it's it's immaterial. So we imagine it. We remember how it looks like, how it sounds like, and we imagine it. But we don't look at it as on an object. We feel ourselves that we are ourselves this letter R and 5-colored sphere. So this is how we feel. And it requires some effort. And this is just the method of Guru Yoga. So we apply some effort, we apply some intention, and then this clarity of white R, the presence of this clarity of white R appears. So you see, there is nothing concrete, but still something manifests, something appears. So there is nothing concrete. If somebody is cutting our body into pieces, sometimes it happens, they will never find white R and Tigler. I know that some people expect that when they are checked, there would be something. But I'm sorry, probably nobody will have it. So no surgeon is going to find it. But it manifests. We know it manifests. For example, we can do Guru Yoga with blue R. Chogyanam Kanor also explained Guru Yoga, saying that you can do Guru Yoga with blue R, for example. But you can do Guru Yoga also with blue Hum, with green Tam, with anything. We can do Guru Yoga. Anything can represent our state, because our state is emptiness and manifestation. So even though there is this is empty and this manifestation is immaterial and illusory, but it is distinct from any other manifestation. So when we imagine white R, even though it does not exist, But we know it is white R that does not exist. It is not the blue hum, for example. When we imagine blue hum, then it is blue hum. When we imagine green tam, then it is green tam. Whatever. It does not exist, but this clarity manifests and we can recognize it. So this is our state, the union of emptiness and clarity. And then we relax. And then when we relax, we can notice that this presence of the clarity of white R still continues. So the clarity of the presence, not just of a form and shape and colors, but also presence of a sound. It still continues. Like, for example, we use letters. Why we use letters? Because letters represent sound. In which way letters represent sound? Then, for example, you walk on a street, and depending on where you're walking, in which country, so you find sometimes some words written on a wall, you know, with different letters. Some words that we usually, some people say these words do not exist, but they do exist. And if you are literate, if you know this language, whether we want it or not, we read it. And the sound of these letters manifests to us. The clarity of the sound of these letters manifests to us. So this is the power of letters. And then I give another example. Then, for example, when you read a letter, or you just read a message from the person that you know very well, from your friend, from your relative, you read a message. The message does not have any intonation, but when you read a message from the person that you know very well, did you notice that you read it with the voice of that person? You read it and you know precisely how this person is saying these words. So this is the power of letters. They can generate in ourselves the experience of clarity of the sound. Usually we feel that clarity is more related to something that we see, but this is not true. Clarity relates to everything, to all our senses, to what we see, to what we hear, to what we smell, etc., to every sense that we have, also to mind. So this is clarity, this is manifestation. So we have this presence of clarity of sound R, of light, we have presence of clarity of light, and we have presence of clarity of shape, colors and shape. This is what we have. And then we relax. But this continuation goes on. The presence of this clarity just continues for some time without any effort. We can have this experience from our ordinary life. We can have this experience. For example, you go to some very nice symphonic concert, and you go to the concert and you relax in the chair and you immerse into the sound, into the music, and then the concert is finished and you go out of the concert hall, but you can still hear the sound. The sound still continues. There is no physical sound. You're not trying to remember this sound, but the sound still continues. Another example is that, for example, you eat something very, very nice, or you eat something absolutely disgusting. Yeah? And then you no longer have it in your mouth, but still the sensation, this presence of nice flavor or disgusting flavor still continues. So this is also called clarity. So in the same way, the presence of the clarity of white R continues by itself. When we start to think about something else, then probably it will disappear, probably. I don't say definitely, because it can also continue. It can remain. But usually it disappears when we get distracted with other things, when we lose presence. So, but at least for some time, we have this continuation of the presence of the clarity of white R and the 5-color Tibet. And this, when we relax in it, it means we don't try to change it. We don't try to produce this R. We don't try to cancel this R. We apply no effort. We just relax in this presence. And this is state of Guru Yoga. This is the state of Guru Yoga. We generate something with effort, with intention, with some action, and then we have some experience resulting from that. But then we relax in the presence of that experience and of that knowledge. So this is how we do Guru Yoga. And we do Guru Yoga in this way, and we just remain for a while in this state. Okay. So we continue to refresh the knowledge of the teaching. And today I would like to start with the three principles of Guru Garav Dorje, three tastements or statements of Guru Garav Dorje. And it means that the first one is about direct experience, direct introduction. And in Tibetan language, we use slightly different expressions depending whether we talk from the side of the teacher or from the side of a student. So when we are talking from the side of the teacher, then we are talking about teacher doing something actively. So there is a verb, a verb that means something is done concretely, an action. Somebody is doing this. Teacher is giving an introduction, for example. And then when we are talking about the side of the student, then there is another word. And another word is a little bit like passive or inactive. So it means something is happening. It means the student can relax totally and understand something, because understanding is not an action. We don't need an action for understanding. We can do some action to develop some experience, and the result of an action is an experience. But knowledge is not a result of an action. So knowledge somehow is introduced to us. It can be introduced in general. I'm talking about knowledge in general. The knowledge can be introduced by circumstances, or knowledge can be introduced by a teacher. Last time I was speaking about this Garabdorje and this kind of beings that can discover knowledge from circumstances. And it's kind of a genius. And it refers to many kinds of knowledge. The circumstances can give us knowledge. We can discover, but it doesn't mean that it happens automatically. We need capacities. So like, for example, Archimedes, yeah? Everyone is putting one's body into the bathtub, but it was just Archimedes who discovered this knowledge, the law of Archimedes. And then when somebody is telling us this law of Archimedes and say, ah, yes, but this is obvious. Yeah, of course, this is obvious when we are informed about this. Yeah. Then it becomes obvious. So this is also a kind of a transmission of a knowledge. Yeah. But when a teacher, for example, is giving direct introduction, that sometimes it requires an action. Then, for example, teacher has to say something, teacher has to concentrate sometimes ask a question, etc. There are many types of things that teacher can do, and Chogyal Namkhai was using many methods, not just one or two methods to give direct introduction. Sometimes he would do it. Of course, it wasn't possible with everybody, but with more personal communication, for example, he could throw something and you should catch it, for example. And then when you catch it, then your mind is blank because you did not expect it. When you expect that he is going to throw, then of course your mind is tense and full. But then when it is sudden, then you catch it and then you experience the blank state, and then maybe you can recognize presence in that. So that's why we are using different experiences. Like, for example, we use experience of Shine. When we develop calm state of Shine beyond conceptual thinking, there are no thoughts. And this state of Shine is not yet the Dharmakaya, is not a direct introduction, not instant presence. But this is an experience. And in this experience of Shine, calm state, or mitokpa. Usually in Dzogchen we use the word mitokpa, which means no thoughts. It does not necessarily mean that there are no thoughts at all, but it means that even there are thoughts, but we are not participating. They are not bothering us, and we are not thinking them, and we are not blocking them. But sometimes there are no thoughts. And then even there are no thoughts, and we cannot define anything, because for defining we need thoughts. We still feel that there is someone who is experiencing this state. We don't make this someone an object. Yeah. We don't develop this feeling of a spectator or observer. We don't make accent on this feeling. But still there is some presence that knows that there is emptiness, there is nothing. And when teacher, for example, is shouting pet, and teacher is shouting pet, and then we have this state of a shock. It's the same. It just lasts for a very short moment, but it's very easy to do. You know, for developing calm state of Shine, we need maybe some people maybe need months. Then even if you develop, but then you communicate with the teacher, and the teacher tells you, for example, oh, you enter Shine state. It can take some time. But with like with PET, it happens very easily. It's the same emptiness, the same state of no thought. When we have this shock, when something is happening, like teachers sounding PET, or maybe you left the window open and then there is this wind suddenly and the window slams and you experience the same state. Yeah, but the window cannot give a direct introduction, no? Unfortunately. That would be nice, really, but it does not happen. But if we know already, we can recognize. So, but it's like with gold. Like for example, you research, you do research, and you're looking for gold. Yeah. So I see people from Australia here, and people from South Africa here. Oh, in many places on this globe there is gold and diamonds. Yeah. So we are searching for gold, and then we find an ore or something that it looks like an ore, but we need to check. And how we check? We find a big amount of this ore, yeah, but we don't bring all this amount to the laboratory, right? We take small piece and we bring it to the laboratory. Yeah. Like for example, when they check your blood, when they do a blood test, yeah, now it's everywhere. They make blood tests. Yeah, we need to test your blood. So give us your blood, we will test it, and then we return it to you. No, it's not like this. It's only in the movies about vampires. Yeah, it's like this. But they take just a small drop, and this small drop of blood has exactly the same quality as all amount of blood that you have. Sorry. So in the same way, this mitokva, the state of mitokva, of non-thought, that we have after shouting pet, whether it is teacher who is shouting pet or we ourselves shout pet to ourselves, the state of mitokva has exactly the same quality, the same nature as the state that we developed through shine. For people who devote so much time for practicing shine and consider that shine or calm state is very important, they cannot even hear it. They cannot accept it. Like something they go for half year, or sometimes they go for 3 years into solitary retreat, or at least they go for 1 month. And then you say, once you shout pet, you have exactly the same quality as what you develop in half year. Who can accept it? Nobody can accept it. Yeah, nobody agrees, because it means like they wasted their time, their energy, and they feel angry and maybe feel jealous, or they feel that we are stupid. They feel we are stupid, and they feel a kind of concern. All these stupid Dzogchen paths. They want an easy way, etc., etc. Okay. What can you develop with shine? You can develop many things, yeah, definitely. But you cannot develop liberation with shine. It's impossible. It was the first thing that Buddha discovered when he started to pursue the path of liberation. This was one of the first things that he discovered. Because Buddha didn't start by himself. Well, he was not Buddha yet, officially. He was Siddhartha. So Siddhartha, he went to 2 teachers. There were 2 famous teachers in that area, and he went to them. And he learned shine perfectly, dhyana practice. He learned from them perfectly. From one teacher, he learned the 7th level, and from another teacher, he learned the 8th level, the highest level of dhyana or samapati, absorption. And then he practiced, and then his teachers were saying, oh, you are so good in that, you have to teach. But he felt it was not yet. It was not that what he was looking for. It was not a liberation. So this was the first thing that he discovered on his path, that the state of dhyana, the state of absorption, calm state, does not equal nirvana, does not bring liberation from suffering. It gives just temporary solution. Yeah. No, it's a solution, but it's a temporary solution. Yeah, like alcohol. You know, there is a good joke in English. It sounds only in English because people say alcohol is not a solution. Well, it is a solution. Yeah. It works as a solution, yeah, in chemical sense. So, so this dhyana state is, it's a kind of, one of my friends was calling this anti-tank pills. So what it means, anti-tank pills? It means that, for example, you are at war, and then there is a tank attack. So many tanks, panziren, are approaching you, and they want to kill you. What do? You take a pill. So you take a pill, and after a few seconds, all the tanks disappear totally. So it is called anti-tank pill. So meditation works more or less the same way. You know this famous story about Saraha, yeah? This famous story about Saraha, Mahasiddha. He was not yet Mahasiddha. He was just great yogin, yeah, great practitioner. And he had a special wife. And when he was going to go into meditation, and he said, oh, make me some like porridge from radish or pumpkin, something like this, doesn't matter. Maybe he said, I want French fries. Will you please make French fries for me? Yeah, Saraha said, yeah, something like this. And he went to meditate. And he was in absorption for 12 years. And for 12 years, he was meditating very deep. You can imagine 12 years, yeah. For us, at 12 minutes is already a problem. And for him, 12 years, easily, without food, without French fries, yeah. And then he woke up, he rose from his samadhi state. What was the most miraculous thing in this story for me is that his wife was still there. For me, it was a real miracle, not 12 years in samadhi, no. But his wife was still there. So you see, meditation doesn't bring liberation, if you understand what I mean. So, and then his first question to his wife was, so how is my French fries? And his wife said, you stupid idiot. You spent 12 years meditating, and the only thing that you think about is the French fries. Yeah. So you see, very special wife. Yeah. So it means, yes, we can develop many qualities. It's important, relatively important, to be able to practice calm state and absorption, concentration, etc. It's important. But it does not bring liberation. You see, Saraha even didn't liberate anything, no? So, but we use it as an experience. In Dzogchen, we use this calm state as an experience. And then within this experience, we discover the presence which is experiencing this. And then we continue in this presence. Or we can use experience of clarity, or also we can use the experience of sensation. Usually it is, officially it is called bliss. But it can also be pain. There is no problem with the pain. Pain works very well. But it's risky a bit. If you do it intentionally, it can be a bit risky. Yeah. Because then you need to cause your pain, and you can never go too far. Or if you go too far, then you kill yourself and you don't realize anything. Yeah. So it's very difficult. But when you have circumstances, when, for example, you have sickness, and then all your body is in pain, then you can discover who is in pain. Yeah. Something like this. So we need experience, but experience itself is a relative thing. We can use different experiences, not just single experience, but many different kinds of experiences. like experience of emptiness, of clarity, of sensation, and also combination of all three. So we remain in the experience, but it's important to be introduced to the nature of this experience, which is the nature of mind as well. And then this is the point from where Dzogchen practice starts. This is the point. Before that, we can use different methods, etc. But this is actually the starting point of Dzogchen. And this is we should take care about, because even we receive introduction from our teacher, from Chogyal Namkha Norbu, we received many times the introduction. But it does not automatically bring us knowledge. Some people believe that automatically they have this knowledge, but this is not true. It means that we need to discover, and for this reason, we can also do Shinel Hakton practices. We can do practices of Rushan series or series of Samzin. We can do many different kinds of practices. But we become really Dzogchen practitioners when we discover. So this is number one. And then when we discover, then we need to make sure. And make sure doesn't mean we believe that we discovered. Oh, okay, I believe. Why I believe that I discovered? Because all these people, they discovered. How can it be that I did not discover? How is it possible? All these people, they look so stupid. How can it be that they discovered and I did not discover? Okay. So we can feel like this. But we really need to, it doesn't mean that we believe. But we discover, it means we discover in all circumstances, in all situations we discover. We have experience of emptiness, and in emptiness we discover. Or we have experience of clarity, and the same knowledge we discover in the experience of clarity. Or sensation. Clarity and sensation and emptiness are very different. Very, very different. But the knowledge is the same. Their nature is the same. So this is the way how we go beyond doubts. But there is another aspect of a doubt. Doubt means that we always compare something, and doubt means that we make our state an object. You remember what I said in the beginning, that when we imagine R, we don't make it an object. We don't consider it an object. It is rather like a subject, but in real sense, it's both subject and object, indivisible. So, but you know our habit. What is the habit of our mind? The habit of our mind is that as soon as we experience something, what happens? Then we tell to ourselves that what we've just experienced. And I'm telling to myself, oh, I experienced emptiness. But who is telling to whom? Okay, if it is me who experienced emptiness, then it means I know that I experienced emptiness. Why would anyone bother to tell me? I don't need anyone telling me that I experienced emptiness, because it was me who experienced emptiness. And then it means that I'm trying to explain to myself I experienced emptiness. It means that I assume that I did not experience it and I don't know. You know what it's like when you're watching a movie in a company with someone. There is a special kind of people, and when they're watching television by themselves, it's okay. You don't notice anything strange. But as soon as there is someone next to them, they start immediately to explain what's happening. Even though you are watching the movie with them from the beginning, but they explain. They say, oh, look, look, look. Yeah. You see? You see what she told him? Yeah. And they explain what is happening on the screen, right? So it's annoying. No, it's very annoying and unbearable when somebody is saying that, because already you see, you know what's that. But this person, he is still trying to tell you, to help you. Yeah. Or maybe we do it ourselves. We also can do it ourselves. Our friend is sitting and say, ah, look, look, I see. Yeah, why you're telling me? Yeah. So it looks like we are there with our friend inside our mind. We have our friend who is watching the same show, but we don't believe this friend is clever enough to understand what's going on. That's why we are telling our friend what's happening. And this friend is still ourselves, no? So this is how it works. We tell to ourselves, yeah. And when we are in a dualistic situation, this is just a mental chatter. Yeah? If it's a non-dual situation, that it can become a dialogue between Samantabhadra and Vajrasattva. The same thing. Yeah. But the problem is that we are making our state an object. This is the problem. That as soon as we experience something, we immediately start to evaluate what we have just experienced, and then we fall into dualism. And then when there is dualism and we evaluate, there is always a doubt. Is it that or is it not that? Because it's dualistic. So it means that if we go beyond this habit, then there is no problem with that. And for example, there are very nice instructions by Mipam. And you know, Mipam was a very, very complicated and elaborate philosopher. You know, like if you read, for example, if you read A Precious Vase, there are quotations from Mipam, and it is not so easy to understand what he is saying. So he was considered like a direct emanation of Manjushri, and he is considered to be one of the utmost philosophers of Tibet. But then Mipam wasn't always like this. He could be also very simple, and he has very simple and precise instructions for village yogi. He said it for village yogi. Village yogi is not very educated, but village yogi can meditate well. Yeah? Because does not have much education, doesn't have much to think about, etc. Simple, plain mind, sometimes it is better. Many people, when they develop their intellect and education, then they understand that maybe it would be better to remain a little bit like village yogi, but it's too late. Yeah. So there is always a way back, you know, you can use many things really to go back, but maybe then you cannot understand. So, but if it is a village yogi, then they can meditate very well, easily go into calm state, because they also have big devotion. You know, simple people have a much bigger devotion to the teacher, to the teaching, than complicated, sophisticated people. And so the instruction for village yogi is like this. So they develop a Shina state, and in Shina state, you cannot define anything. So it's a kind of indefinite state. But in this indefinite state, who is experiencing that? Yeah. So then they discover. And then Mipam is saying, but the next thing is going to happen. You're going to make your own experience an object. Just notice it is happening. So it's important that we just notice that this thing is happening and we let it liberate. We don't try to block it. We are not trying to do something with that, to overcome it. But we just notice, we become aware. And then we can overcome this problem. We can overcome this cause of a doubt. So this is the second. We don't remain in doubt, and we find the same experience in the same knowledge in all kinds of experience. And then our work is just to continue 24/7, and this is not easy. No? This is a bit difficult to continue. But for this, we need like ordinary presence is very important for continuing in this state. And to continue in this state, maybe we expect that something is going to happen. So many people expect that something is going to happen when we continue. So you know, when I was at school and then at the university, we all studied this, how was it called? We called it scientific materialism. It was a teaching developed by Karl Marx. It was an official ideology. Marx, Engels, then Lenin. Yeah, we studied that. And there was, because Marx borrowed a lot from Hegel, dialectics. And one of the laws we were studying was that the quantity transforms into quality. So if we accumulate something in big quantity, then the quality is changing. For example, I don't know, you make a big pile of bricks, and then this pile is so big that the lower bricks start to crash. Yeah, this means like quantity transforms into quality, changing the quality, something like this. So maybe we expect something like this in the practice, that we practice, and then something miraculous should happen. Sorry. So something miraculous should happen, and we are waiting for that. No? Like, for example, the sky opens up, and then somebody is descending from the sky, from the heaven, and gives us something like an Oscar statue and says, now you're enlightened, now welcome to the club, or something like this. Yeah. No, there is a joke about skies opening up. So a priest and a layman are playing golf on a golf field. And then the layman is hitting the ball and then say, God damn, I missed. And then the priest doesn't like it. And the priest said, my son, don't use the name of God in vain. Otherwise, the God will punish you for that. And don't do blasphemy. You know? Don't mention the evil one. Okay, Holy Father, okay. And then again, he hits the ball and misses again, says, God damn, I missed. And the priest saying again, please don't, this is a blasphemy. You cannot say this kind of things. God will punish you. And then again, I say, okay, Holy Father, yeah, it's okay, yeah. But then again, he hits the ball and he's very emotional. He says, God damn, I missed again. And then the sky opens up and then a huge thunderbolt hits and burns the priest to ashes. And then the voice resounding from the sky, God damn, I missed. So probably some people expect that, you know, when you become enlightened, when you become a Buddha, then somebody is descending from heaven and gives you a magic suit, new body. Then it gives you Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Nirmanakaya, because you don't have it, no? We don't have it, but then all Buddhas have it. It means that you need to get it from somewhere. And it's not like in the movie like Aliens, yeah. This is growing. This new body is growing inside you, and then pops up. It's not like this. Well, something should happen, but what we expect, because we want to be enlightened. But if I ask people, in this situation, I cannot really ask you because it's not very convenient to ask you about. But I have a lot of experience asking people directly in the retreats. So you want enlightenment? They say yes, yes, we want enlightenment. But for what do you want enlightenment? What would you do with enlightenment? And for example, say, but when I'm enlightened, I can fly. Oh, okay, and what else? But why you need to fly? I need to fly in order to help other beings, because it's important to fly to help other beings. I say, well, but this is like a Batman, no? So it means that we want to become a Buddha, but we say we want to become a Buddha, but in real sense, we want to become a Batman, to fly and to save everyone, to help everyone. Huh? Because we can only want something that we know already. So this Dharmakaya is like a Batman suit, something like this. You know, about flying. I remember a few years ago, well, maybe 10 years ago, I went to Vladivostok, and Vladivostok is Pacific. It's next to China, so this is a Pacific coast of Russia. And to fly from Moscow, and I didn't even live in Moscow, but to fly from Moscow to Vladivostok takes like 8.5 hours. So it's longer flight than London, New York, for example. Yeah, and you just fly over Russia for 8.5 hours, and this is just not really covering the Russian territory. Yeah. So and I came, and I was teaching, and again I asked somebody, and they said, "Oh, we want to fly. Flying is so nice." I said, "Yeah, but I came here flying. You know, I came here flying. It's a magic, no? You give some just pieces of paper. You just give people pieces of paper, and then you fly. And you come from Moscow to Vladivostok, covering like 7,000 kilometers in 8.5 or 9 hours. This is a miracle." Say, no, 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 it must be better like just you fly by yourself. I said, I'm sorry. To fly for 9 hours in a minus 50 degrees, I don't want that. Yeah, I prefer this way. So maybe I expecting that some miracle is going to happen. Yeah, and that's why we are waiting. But the principle of Dzogchen is that the miracle already happened. And the miracle is our state is a miracle. So we discover our state, the nature of our mind. We discover this famous instant presence. And this is already enlightenment. We don't need any other enlightenment. Because if we are talking about the base is instant presence. When we are talking about the path is instant presence in whatever experience we go through. If you're talking about the fruit is instant presence 24/7. There is no other fruit. Then it is called Tingzin Koryuk Chenmo, or like total, universal, or cosmic, rather than cosmic contemplation. Because everything is included and there is no interruption. And then, but then what happens? How can we know? But we don't know. We don't even need to have an idea of being an enlightened, because when we feel that we are enlightened, it means we are evaluating our condition. As enlightened or non-enlightened means a doubt. Then we need to make a blood test or whatever to prove we are enlightened or something like this. Or make some other measurements, I don't know. You know measurements, yeah? You know, sometimes people, they do measurements to check who is better. But also for discovering a Buddha, there is a measurement, no? Like if you read the story of a Buddha, when he was born, he was tested. Many things, you know, there are 32 major signs and 18 minor signs. Yeah? And then major signs can be major marks, can be like this. Like, for example, your tongue should cover your forehead. Yeah. So you can reach here with your tongue. Yeah. Maybe I can never become a Buddha because I have very high forehead. Yeah. You know, it will take me more than one lifetime really to reach. But maybe people, you know, there are some people who have very, very narrow forehead. Yeah. Very narrow. For them, it is easy to become a Buddha like this. Yeah. But then I have a vivid imagination and I have a critical mind. Sometimes it causes me huge problems, but I still have it, yeah. And then when I was reading all this explanation, how this astrologist or wizard, the king Shuddhodana, the father of Gautama, Siddhartha Gautama, we cannot say the father of Buddha. This is not correct to say the father of Buddha. It is correct to say the father of Siddhartha Gautama. So the father of Siddhartha Gautama, he had a wizard. It's something like a minister of economy or financial minister, something like this nowadays. Yeah. No, it's a kind of wizard. So they say something, you cannot check it, you have to believe it is true or whatever. Then it becomes all bullshit or something. Yeah. So. So he asked this wizard and said, oh, check my son. My son must be something important. He checked, yes, yes, your son is really important. He has 32 marks of a great being. And then you know, I'm imagining this. First of all, one of the marks is 40 teeth. Well, if I had a baby who is born with 40 teeth, even with one tooth, I would have been worried, you know. I would be really worried if a child would have even one tooth already, yeah? And this child had 40 teeth. And the king didn't even notice that probably, yeah? He asked someone to check, yeah, yeah. And then, besides 40 teeth, a tongue. So I immediately imagined that Asita is taking a tongue of a baby and is measuring. Does it cover the whole forehead or not? Can you imagine? The baby probably wouldn't like it, no? And then there is also explanation. There are things that is easy to check, like membranes between fingers, for example, or a wart here, etc. This is easy to check. But then it says also something about penis, yeah, about male organ. And you also need to check, yeah, something like this. So it's, for me, it's very funny, particularly about 40 teeth. A newborn baby with 40 teeth is a you know, it's a little bit like Alien movie, yeah, already. Yeah. And then also, you know, Buddha has very long arms, you know, very long arms. So he can easily, when he's standing, his hands are on the level of the knees. These are the proportions. So probably it was a kind of mutant, yeah, something like this, and looked probably like totally extraterrestrial to people. Also being high, and many things, like a special construction of a chest like that of a lion, etc. So really should have looked strange, really, yeah. So probably people expect they become something like this, but it does not happen. Even we wait in samadhi, we wait in shamatha, but this does not happen. Nowadays, you know, the plastic surgery, cosmetic surgery gives so many possibilities. I still wonder why people, I have not seen anyone transformed into the Buddha. I already saw like photos and videos of people like transformed into something like Hellboy or something like this. Yeah, growing horns or doing strange things. Yeah, but not making themselves Buddhas yet. So maybe we expect, but it does not happen. But we have no expectation because nothing is changing. Yeah, we don't change anything. We discover this primordial state and it is already enlightenment. And how Chogyal Namkha Norbo is always saying that when you are in instant presence, even for a short time you are in instant presence, but when you are in instant presence, when you are in this recognition of instant presence, because instant presence is always there, but we don't always recognize it. But when there is this self-recognition, then it means you are not different from Samantabhadra. You are the same as Samantabhadra. So this is the principle of Dzogchen. You're already Samantabhadra. So whether you fly or not depends on circumstances. Maybe you don't need to fly. Maybe you don't meet any sentient beings who needs you flying to help this being. Maybe sometimes you just bring a glass of water. Can you imagine if you have a very narrow apartment and you have to fly through it? No. Like I live in an apartment with very, very narrow corridors. If I were flying through those corridors, maybe I would be hitting walls. Not very convenient and very strange topology of the place. There is the central part of the apartment where I live is the bathroom. And from bathroom, you can go to the kitchen, and from the same bathroom, you can go into the bedroom area. Yeah. So it's like the center of the mandala. And then if I just imagine that I have to fly through this bathroom, like to go from kitchen to the bedroom, which is the shortcut. And why you need flying? To make it fast, yeah? And then I have to fly. Then I freak out. No, I better bring this glass of water going by feet, yeah? Something like this, more easy and more, how to say, more secure, yeah? Because who knows, maybe there will be like a air traffic jam, etc. if you're flying. Yeah. Maybe another Buddha is there on a collision course. So this is how we continue. And the way how we continue, there are many explanations of the way how we continue with that. And one explanation is related to 4 samayas. You know, samaya is a very famous word in Buddhism, in Vajrayana Buddhism. In Sutra, we don't have samayas. It's important that in Sutra, we don't have samayas. In Sutra, we have vows. We have monastic vows, and we have also precepts or commitments of bodhisattva, like aspirations. Like, for example, aspirations, whatever are teachings of the Buddha, I commit to study all of them, or whatever beings are in the universe, I commit to liberate all of them. So these are like examples of the commitments of bodhisattva. But in Tantra, we have samaya, and samaya has many meanings. No, samaya, one of the meaning of samaya, in Tibetan it is damtsig, translated damtsig. So it means like a supreme or a sacred word, something like this. But in Indian language, in Sanskrit or Dhyana language, the word samaya, one of the meanings is a rope, a cord. Yeah? That's why, if you receive the tantric initiation, and I'm sure all of you receive tantric initiations many times, what they give you is a symbol of samaya. They give you a cord on your neck, a cord with the knot. Yeah. So cord is a symbol of samaya, and the word samaya itself also means a cord. Yeah. One of the meaning. But in Tibetan, it was translated with the word damtsig, and usually we translate it like commitment. But it can be also translated as a word, or if you use a Latin language, we can use it a condition. Yeah. Fulfilling, we say observing the samaya, but we can say observing the condition. Fulfilling the condition, like condition when we have a kind of contract, and there is a list of conditions that we need to observe to fulfill. For example, if it's a working contract, then we have a condition that dress code, for example. Yeah. We need to apply a certain dress code. This is the condition that we continue to work at that place. Or to be politically correct, etc., etc. So not to be sexist, not to be this, not to be that, for example. It's like a commitment. Condition that you can continue to work, and you give a word that you're going to follow it. So we give a word. When we promise something to someone, we say, I give you my word. So it's exactly the same. We give the word. This is one of the meanings. We give a word that we are going to read, to chant this mantra every day, that many times, that as many as teacher said, indicated. Or we will do this practice of sadhana, etc. So we give our word, and this is called damtsig. Yeah. Like a word from the heart. I give you my special word, something like this. So this is the commitment of samaya, and it's like a promise, but another meaning of this is a condition for us to be able to remain on that path. We accept this condition and we observe this condition to be on the path. We commit ourselves to the path. And for example, it can be very different. Like sometimes it's to be in the condition or in the state of yidam, deity, that we discover. But not everyone discovers how to be in yidam, deity. It's why, for example, some teachers, they can understand very well that most people who come to the tantric initiation, they don't realize, they don't discover the state of yidam, which is exactly the state of emptiness and clarity and non-duality between mind and the vision. Yeah? Because, for example, when you imagine yourself as a yidam deity and they imagine your environment as a mandala, your dimension you imagine as a mandala, what do you discover? That this is your imagination. That there is no separation where the yidam ends and the mandala starts. Where is the border between yidam and mandala? It's both like a hologram. How can we make a border in a hologram? Yeah. An illusion, a dream. So there is no difference between subject and object. It's one state. Yeah. And when you imagine something, it manifests. So this is like non-duality between the subject and object, mind and appearance. You imagine something and the vision is changing. Like in a dream. Yeah. We can discover it in a dream. When we transform something, like we meet like a tree and we transform it into a dog, for example. In a dream, still it looks like something like an object. But we transform this, we transform that, etc. And then we discover that it's not really an object. It's not different from my mind. It's the same substance of my mind. It looks that there is a distance, but in real sense, there is no distance whatsoever. There is no distance. It's still my dimension, unique dimension. Not two-dimensional subject and object, and then with the power of my mind, I transform it. No, it's the same dimension, but it manifests as subject and object. And the yidam is a method. Yidam and mandala, we say that yidam is a method. Deva, deity, is a method. So the deity is a method, but what does it mean? It means that during the initiation, we have this experience of generating a deity. And we discover it's the union of emptiness and clarity of manifestation. So this is the meaning. And then this is the method, because we maintain presence of ourselves as a deity. And it means we continue to be in this recognition of the union or inseparability of emptiness and clarity. Without this, practice of yidam becomes something like insanity, like magic. We transform into some ghost or some demon, yeah, something like this. Some people can feel nice when they transform something like terrifying, you know. Some people are terrifying enough, they don't need to transform, but some people feel that they need to be more terrifying. So they transform as something and they feel special, you know, they feel energy, they have a knife or like a spear, or they are like a trident, whatever, and they are dancing, yeah, cha-cha-cha, yeah, you know, on a dead body. And they feel very special, a lot of energy in that, they feel, they like it. Or they imagine themselves like a 16-year-old girl, very beautiful. And they also, sometimes they feel nice. Some may feel strange, you know. Like heterosexual men can feel strange if they consider that they transform into 16-year-old girls. Some men still probably like it. And I think that most women enjoy like being, like imagining being 16-year-old girl, you know, in full health and sensuality, etc. You know? But the point is that this is a union of emptiness and manifestation, of emptiness and clarity. This is the point. This is a symbol. That's why it is called the symbol. But white R has exactly the same function. That's why, for example, Chogyam Namkha Norbu once said, you can read it in the book, The Song of the Vajra. He said that many people are asking me, but what is our yidam? What is our yidam? Because yidam is like a kind of a sign of a sect, you know. We are followers of Vajra, or we are followers of Vajra Yogini, etc. Yeah, what is your yidam? Yeah, what is like, from which clan are you? MacLeod. Yeah. Duncan MacLeod. Something like this, yeah. And then Rinpoche said, our yidam, you can consider white eye is our yidam. Why? Because it has the same function. It shows practically the non-separability or union of emptiness and clarity at the same time. And whether you do it with white eye and also non-duality, not separating from yourself. So whether you do white R or you do elaborated vision of Kala Chakra with many hands, legs and arms, etc., is the same. The essence is the same. Relative things, of course, are different because we have different colors, we have different shapes, we have different sounds. So on the relative level, it's all different. But on the essential level, it's the same. So the samaya is that we, in Tantra, in Vajrayana, the samaya means that we maintain this knowledge, the knowledge we received in the initiation, and yidam is the method. So we maintain transformation as a method for discovering this knowledge of inseparability of, for example, emptiness and manifestation of mind and appearance, etc. This kind of things. And this is the commitment. And other commitments are relative, and that's why since many teachers understand that most people are unable to recognize this, they say, at least you maintain the intention with which you came for this initiation. So if you have a good intention to become enlightened to benefit beings, then at least maintain this intention, and that's gonna be your samaya. Yeah. And people like, oh, this is a very nice samaya, I like it very much. But it also means the how the teacher considers your capacities. But in Dzogchen, we don't have something like this. We don't need to visualize white heart as a commitment, as like a duty. No. But we do Guru Yoga. We do Guru Yoga in order to maintain this knowledge. This is the reason why we do it. We do Guru Yoga. So it becomes a tool. Okay, so this is the principle of Samaya, that we maintain the knowledge. And this is the main principle. And we have, in Dzogchen, we have the principle of 4 Samayas. And they have nice names. And the first one is Mepa, or sometimes it's translated like nothing, but it's also translated as absence. Mepa is absence. It also means emptiness, that there is nothing concrete. And it means that when we look into our condition, when we look into our state, into our mind, we cannot find anything concrete. There is nothing like we find and we can point out and say, that's it. That's the essence. In the Tantra Dorje Sempanam Kache, the total space of Vajrasattva, there are words that even Vajrasattva cannot say, that's it. But we have some our Vajra brothers and sisters who can say. They can say, that's it. You are in Rigpa and you are not in Rigpa. They can test. They can check. Yeah. I met some people like this. Vajrasattva cannot, but they can. Yeah. Because they are like Samantabhadra. Samantabhadra is like, like more important than Vajrasattva, higher level, like a father to Vajrasattva. It's not, of course, true. There is no difference between Vajrasattva and Samantabhadra. It's the same. So we cannot find anything concrete. Like when we are searching in our mind, where is the thought? From where is it coming? Where it remains? Where does it go? The thought. Yeah. We cannot find anything concrete. And this is one of the meaning of this mepa. And another meaning of this mepa is that there is no special instructions on how to behave. Because we always need explanation how we do meditation and how we behave. Like, for example, how we do meditation. We say, oh, but when I meditate in Dzogchen, how I sit? Oh, you sit as you like. Or how I look as you like. Oh, how I breathe, how I concentrate, what kind of mantra I do, etc. Visualization. That's all is not important. There is no a single way to do it. There can be many ways. And sometimes in the Tantra Kunjet Gyalpo is saying Ranglu Machol Hamagom. It means that your body, you don't change your body. You don't alter your body. It means don't try to find any special position of your body. And Lamagom means don't meditate deity. Don't become familiar with the deity. Yeah. Don't cultivate, literally, don't cultivate the deity. Which is like a tantric idea that we need to maintain specific position and then we cultivate the deity. This is called meditation. But Dzogchen is saying that don't alter your body and don't cultivate the deity. There is no prescription how we do. There is nothing concrete, just remaining in instant presence. But you cannot say that there is a specific way to remain in instant presence. There is no specific way. And then also behavior, because we're interested, how Dzogchen practitioners must behave. But there is no rule for Dzogchen practitioners how they behave. There is no rule that everyone, for example, should have a ponytail. Yeah, I have ponytail. I still have something to make ponytail of. Yeah, still. Maybe not for long. It's becoming less and less material for ponytail with like every year. I'm still managing. When I was young, you see, you can see Jolt, my dear friend Jolt, you can see on the screen also. So when I was young, I was shaving, yeah, and I looked like my friend Jolt looks now, yeah, just looked like, yeah. I was not, of course, I was not that wise and clever as him now, yeah. But at least I had a bald head, you know. I was shaving. And when I was shaving a head, I was studying at the university, and it was still a Soviet time, and it was considered already very suspicious, because nobody was shaving heads. Yeah. Then you do something that nobody does, there is something suspicious. So maybe I am not politically correct in communist sense, something like this. And some people were coming to me and they were asking, but why are you shaving your head? What do you want to say with the shaving head? What does it indicate? And then you never know who is asking and why they are asking. Because if you say, I'm a Buddhist, then you can have a problem, yeah, already, because it's not nice. You know, I said, I dared to say, it was already this famous Gorbachev, Perestroika, all this bullshit that you probably heard 30 years ago. And then I thought, oh, maybe it is true. And then when I was doing my philosophy examination, and I was the best student on my year at the university, and also not only in maths, but also in philosophy. And then I was explaining something that I said, then the teacher said, but this is not Marxism, what you're saying. And I said, I am not a Marxist. Well, I'm not a Marxist, I said, and said, I cannot take an exam from someone who is not a Marxist. It was 1989, you know, 1989, already 3 years of Gorbachev. And then they made a committee from this philosophy department of all these communists, etc., to give me an exam. And of course, they gave me an exam that I had the low mark. But it was very funny, because if I had the usual mark, if I didn't say I was a Marxist, I would become, you know, like they have in America, they have this Fulbright, yeah, something like this, Fulbright stipend or something like this. And in the Soviet Union, it was Lenin's stipend, something like this. So if I had this exam, if I just kept my mouth shut, and then I would get this, that would be very funny. But the only thing that was like making me happy about this situation, that because it was only one for the department, only one, this stipend for the department. The next guy after me, who was secretly a converted Jew. Yeah. You know, I was a Buddhist and I didn't get it. And he was secretly a Jew. He didn't say it. He was saying everything was correct, communist way. But secretly he was a Jew and he attended education, Jewish education. He was not yet wearing kippah, but he was going to. So the next year he was already going. And then it was a lot of fun that instead of having a Buddhist like Lenin's stipend winner, there was a secret Jewish guy, which was against the rule still. And once I remember one guy was I didn't know that this guy was a kind of a dissident, because I thought he looked like, you know, like a young communist leader. And he was always coming to me and asking me, why are you shaving your head? Why are you shaving your head? And I know that maybe if I say I'm a Buddhist, that I would have a problem. And he was really annoying. And then finally, he said, he was saying, but tell me, why you're shaving your head? And I say, I am using the solar radiation with the purpose of intentional mutation. And then it was the last time he asked me a question. So we have an idea that we need to behave a certain way, something like shaving head or wearing a special dress or something like this. But in Dzogchen, there is nothing like this. We don't need to make a tattoo or white R on our body. We don't need to wear some things, etc., something like this. We don't have a special way of behavior. But we work with circumstances. So we follow the circumstances and we act according to circumstances. And this is a huge responsibility. So this is a Samaya number 1, the Samaya of Nepa. And maybe we leave 3 other Samayas for the next time. But now we will do Guru Yoga. And for Guru Yoga, you remember, I was explaining like emptiness and clarity, that this is a non-dual of emptiness and clarity, white eye and tigle. But what about sensation? You know, we have 3 primordial wisdoms. And the first one is emptiness. And it manifests as an experience of mitokva, of emptiness. And then the second primordial wisdom is clarity, which manifests as an experience of clarity. But then we have energy, this famous energy, which means the potentiality of manifesting. It means also interdependence, like when you drink water, you quench your thirst with drinking water. Yeah. So something happens. You hit a wall and then you have a broken hand, for example. Something like this. So this is something concrete. And it manifests as an experience of sensation. But where we have sensation in white R? But this is very simple. We have sensation in white R. We are singing R. We try to sing R, like yeah. And sometimes we are too much concerned with visualization and we don't notice that we have a sensation. You can make it, nobody can hear you. And where do you have this sensation? It's very clear where we have this sensation. Yeah. So for example, when people ask, but where I should visualize white R? Here or maybe here or here, it's something like this. But there is no this question. We sound R. We start with sounding R. And then we have no question. We feel the sensation. There is a sensation. So you see, Guru Yoga is a union of all 3, not just emptiness and clarity, but all 3. It's emptiness, it's clarity, and it's a manifestation of energy, which results in a sensation. So this is the way how we do Guru Yoga. And we can still have a sensation. When we relax, we still have a sensation. So now we do it. Sorry. We do it when we we relax in this presence of Guru Yoga, which has emptiness, it has clarity, and also it has sensation and manifestation of energy through the sound. Sound and light and rays, these are all manifestations of energy. and we have a sensation related to that. Sensation that connects us with our body. Because sometimes we are too much mental. And this sound connects us to our body. Om Dare 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 Swaha Jaya Jaya Siddhi Siddhi Alam Asha Sama Mama Gori Saimeta. Okay, so that's it for today, and I hope to see all of you next week. Have a good time.
Thank you.
Have sound.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Everybody.